And welcome everybody to the Guerrilla Studios for the kickoff of I'm From Denver podcast. We've got producer WIGNZ with us. We've got the great Brandon Lloyd himself, former NFL wide receiver, played with the Niners, played with Washington, played with the Broncos, and led the league in receiving that year, played with Tom Brady in New England. I'm Andy Zodin, and really excited to be here working with you guys today. Such a great time of year. We want to start today by celebrating a hat trick. That's right, you guys. Last Sunday on December 7th was the first time that three of the mainstream sports in Denver all won on the same day. That's right. Let's see. The Broncos, as we recall, beat the Raiders 24-17 to go to 11-2, and they're now the 1 seed in the AFC as we sit here today. The Denver Nuggets go out there and get a 115-106 win over the Hornets. They're 17-6 as we speak and in third place in the West. And, of course, the Avs with a 3-2 win over the Flyers. They are dominating hockey right now. But today, Brandon Lloyd, we start with a question that they asked many times during the film, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Who are those guys?
Who are these guys? The Broncos are 11-2, and it could be argued that they could be undefeated if not for walk-off losses in weeks 2 and 3 against the Colts and Chargers, respectively. Or you could look at it and you could say, well, hold on. Now, this is a team that could have lost to the Eagles. They could have lost to the Jets over in Europe, barely won that one. Came back in inexplicable fashion against the Giants, scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter. That's never been done before. Could have lost to Houston, won that one on a walk-off. Walked off Kansas City and barely beat the Washington Commanders. Thank goodness for Nick Benito's vertical that night. So this team could be undefeated. They could be 6-7. What are we to make of this team right now?
I think they're legit. I think that early on in the season, they looked like a team that was 500 that got lucky in the fourth quarter. But right now, as they're establishing their identity here at the right time, at the end of the season, they need to have one. And obviously going up against the Raiders, they're horrible. But what you want to see is when you see a good team go up against a bad team, you want to see them handle business. And that's what they did. They go in, they handle business, they take care of the ball, they control the ball. And that's important going into the end of the season because you need momentum.
To continue with that momentum, you would assume that you have to point the finger at certain people that are most responsible for that, and that starts with Sean Payton.
Right.
But that also includes Bo Nix.
Right.
That includes an Alex Singleton. Some of the defensive leaders, who do you point to as this team moves toward a serious playoff run that's going to make sure that things don't slip through the cracks?
First, Payton. It seems like the players are starting to believe what he was talking about this summer, where he's saying that they're real contenders, and we were all kind of like, are you sure? And now it's starting to materialize. What Sean Payton's saying after the game is, you handle business for the rest of the season, you get 2 home games, and then you're in the Super Bowl. It seems easy, doesn't it? It's like that simple, right?
if you're just doing a math equation, yes.
Yeah. And it's like, but all these games you should handle. A lot of these AFC division leaders, they have 9 wins, right? And the Broncos are just floating through the season. Like, it seems with the record would say relative ease, but if you really drill down into these games, they're really testing your blood pressure.
Well, you say blood pressure because I saw a cartoon of a guy that's in a doctor's office and he's in a robe and they say, well, no, we don't actually do stress tests with treadmills anymore. We just have you sit down and watch a Bronco game.
Yeah. One thing that I always pay attention to in a football season is, when does the win one for the Gipper happen? Right?
Right.
When does something happen off the field, or when there's a player injured or someone pass away where the players are playing for something beyond just the game? And then you have it with Alex Singleton.
Right.
And all of a sudden he comes back from a discovery of testicular cancer.
Misses one game.
That has surgery.
Amazing.
Misses one game and then comes back and makes an incredible pivotal play in the Washington Commanders game in coverage, which he's not known for doing. So well, the green dot on defense, the quarterback of the defense, has that happen to him and then comes back. It's a miraculous story.
And then you've got, of course, Patrick Surtain coming back from missing a few games, and they were winning without him.
Yep.
But one of the things that I felt could be a real problem, guys, was the loss of J.K. Dobbins, because he seemed like he was the real glue of this offense, and they had the offense going. You bring in a guy like R.J. Harvey, and you've got Jaleel McLaughlin going good. Tyler Batty's coming in, and is it Batty or Beatty or Bidet? I've heard it pronounced all three ways. I'm going to go with Batty for now. But R.J. Harvey, particularly in the Raiders game last Sunday, I was particularly impressed with, because there were a couple of huge plays where they had him dead to rights. He showed that lower body strength, that low center of gravity, and made a couple plays, got a couple first downs. How much more confidence is Sean Payton going to have to show and have in him based on these results lately?
It's twofold, because Sean Payton has gotten a little too cute at times with this offense. And he needs to be disciplined and establish that run game, because that's what separates this team from the Super Bowl 50 team. The Super Bowl 50 team could run that clock down.
Right.
They could run the rock. And, we started to see that against the Raiders. Obviously, the Raiders are terrible. So, how's this going to look against the Packers when you got a real defense coming in?
Right.
But they ran the ball. They have these 90-yard drives, 10-minute
Clock
drives,
eaters.
9-minute drives,
sure.
right? Like, that's what wins playoffs games, when you have that kind of defense. So it's if Sean Payton can stay disciplined and the players can execute on the blocking schemes and get that run game established. The only thing I don't like is they have to run out of those heavy formations. Obviously, that was the scheme for the Raiders, that they want to bring in those heavy formations. That ain't with the league. You going up against Josh Allen, and they're putting up numbers and they're moving the rock. Like, you're gonna have to get in and run for. You have to get in spread formations and still be able to run the ball.
Is the heavy formation philosophy largely due to the fact that we're still talking about a second-year quarterback, and now we've got a starting running back who's a rookie, and just trying to make sure that you give those guys Fort Knox to the best of your ability around them to make sure that they're not putting themselves in any sort of precarious situations? I get what you're saying with the spread formations, but Sean Payton seems like a guy that they talk about him being very protective of his guy, and they don't like Bo Nix running the ball, because I think he could run more than he does.
He could run a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
he should not run a lot more.
He should not run a lot more.
He should not. He should not. The reason why Josh Allen runs a lot more is because he's 230. He can run, and he can handle that. Bo should not be. He should not run more than he needs to.
Should he not run more now, to Wig's point? Because I think he and I are seeing it the same way.
Right.
He could run more. Is this we'll save that for a playoff game kind of a situation?
No, he could run more, but he'll do it when he needs to. Right. It's like when he runs the sweep to the left.
Mm-hmm.
What game was that?
It was like 2 games
That was
ago.
against Dallas.
Against Dallas, where you needed it. You absolutely got to have it. It's like, all right.
The Giant game was
the Giants.
Sorry.
It's the Giants game, not Cowboys. It's the Giants. Where you absolutely got to have it.
Right.
Okay. We know he can do it, but just randomly running him the ball.
I don't think Wiggs or I are talking about, let's not turn him into Jackson Dart.
That's what I'm getting at. And that's what I'm getting at. No, but going back to your point about those heavy formations, it's obvious. It's too obvious. And early in the season, it's more of a discipline and scheming perspective. So that falls on Sean Payton. He needs to be able to scheme those runs into the play calling, whether it's down and distance, setting up the run with the pass and setting up the pass with the run out of those spread formations. You're sending him, the third tight end and the lineman, as a, declaring as an eligible receiver. It's like, it's just so obvious.
Right.
And I would like to see the team get away from that and be able to run out of spread, pass out of spread, and be effective. But it's hard having your quarterback in the shotgun the whole game.
Right. We were fortunate and had a great chat just now with Jake Plummer and Nate Jackson, who just left the studio as we came in. And how cool is that?
That was awesome.
Right? And
Jake the Snake, man.
Jake the Snake.
He looks
those
good.
were some great years.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough where I watched him play at ASU and in the Rose Bowl, and he was
he sidearming it then?
He was doing everything, man. And talk about a guy that could run.
Yep.
That dude had the moves. I heard that you guys were chatting, talking shop, bunch of ex-pro players. about Troy Franklin in particular, and we're still waiting on his hands to become a little bit more reliable. And when the trade deadline came and went, there was a lot of talk about some available guys. Jalen Waddle's name came up and a few others.
What I see there is more of it's Bo Nix throwing to his little brother.
Because they played together in college, right?
It's,
yeah.
and
Couple
adopted
of
him.
Oregon
Yeah,
Ducks.
yeah.
That's right.
It's a bit much for me.
Okay.
They should not be throwing him the ball that much when they're taking so many passes away from Cortland Sutton, who is the true number one. Let's say he's not Justin Jefferson, he's not Jamar Chase, he's not Puka, he's not that, but he brings stability, consistency, locker room,
Big target.
Well, I'm talking about personality, what he brings to the $100 million receiver conversation. He brings so much consistency outside of off the field that he's worth it. So while he may not be the explosive wide receiver that people have on other teams, he is that. And so he still should get 10, 12 looks a game, targets a game, period. Those shouldn't be going to Troy Franklin.
Okay.
Now, those should be more schemed, deep routes that, Sean Payton's really good at scheming those plays, and maybe he's hovering around 6, 7 targets a game.
6, 7.
6, 7. Right.
Kids
targets
are brought
a
into
game.
the show. There we go. We've just became kid-friendly.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all good.
And so that should be his realm. And then we should start thinking about Pat Bryant in that realm of 6, 7 targets in the game, right? And so that's more how I would be distributing the rock. I think it was with Troy being the fastest player in that locker room, in the receiver room, is why they want to consider him the deep threat.
Okay.
But I feel from what I'm observing is he's struggling seeing the ball.
Right.
So it's what I diagnose is it's more of a eyeball exercise, more eye muscle strengthening is what he needs to do, because the ball's just kind of popping up on him, and it's like it's a surprise. It's like the ball's coming to you. You shouldn't be that surprised.
Kind of like playing with Nikola Jokic and you get hit in the face with a pass.
Yeah. It was close ranges. He knows he's getting a rock.
Right.
He knows he's getting a rock, and it should not be hitting him in the face, going between his hands and hitting him in the face.
It happened in the Raiders game.
Yeah, that should not happen. You were talking about bringing in free agents.
Yes.
Now, if you were to bring in a Waddle, that disrupts the entire chemistry of the team. Because you bring that player in and you're throwing to Troy Franklin 11, 12, 13 times a game.
Okay.
You bring in a player in free agency, I want to rock.
Yeah.
What'd you bring me here for?
Right.
Right? And that would just completely derail everything that Sean Payton built, everything that he stood for, everything he talked about all summer, that this actually is the team. This core unit is the team to get to the Super Bowl. Now, if you bring in outside players, then the players are like, well, what about me? Cortland Sutton would be like, well, what about me? And Troy Franklin would be, well, what about me? So I think that was probably the best move, not to bring in a threat to.
I love the fact, Wiggs, that we got a diva receiver sitting here.
Oh,
speaking
yeah.
on behalf of the rest
All the divas.
of that ilk of what's in the league, and we know that these kind of guys come in, and Sean Payton doesn't want to be questioned.
No.
At all.
Right? By anybody.
You see it on the sidelines when
anytime.
Bo Nix and him have those arguments. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bo's showing some feistiness, but there's times where he's, kind of giving a look over to Sean Payton. I'm like, ooh, that's probably not going to end well. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, you guys, I want to talk CU football. I want to talk CSU football. I want to talk Cherry Creek High School football.
Yes.
Let's do it. And you know what? We're going to go to break and show the food bank of the Rockies, because Brandon went to the food bank of the Rockies.
Yes.
And it was a great experience for you, Brandon. I mean, we could talk about it real quick, because you got to actually walk around their facility hands-on and see how much they're making a difference in Colorado. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I was completely shocked. It was amazing. The size, the scale, the impact, the reach. It was incredible. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah. So we went there with Mount States Toyota, and we'll show you that trip with Brandon Lloyd to Food Bank of the Rockies right now.
We're here at the Food Bank of the Rockies with Joanna, talking about how they keep people fed year-round.
Yeah.
So tell me how you do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, our main goal here at Food Bank of the Rockies is to make sure everyone has the food that they need to be able to thrive. So as a food bank, we're able to get millions of pounds of food from different sources, manufacturers, local and national farmers, grocery stores. Once when that comes into our distribution center, we're then able to get it out to what we call our hunger relief partners. Those are local food pantries, community centers, churches who are serving their communities directly and who really know their communities the best. And it's because of them we're able to get out enough food for 195,000 meals who are going to what we call our neighbors, because that's who they truly are. Individuals, families, older adults, and people who just need a little bit support to make sure that they have the meals that they need every single day.
100,000 square feet. I mean, it's massive.
Yeah, a lot of times when people come in here, they have that same reaction, and they don't realize what it takes for us to be able to get tens of millions of pounds of food out to our community every single year.
Yeah, it's an incredible operation. It's like an Amazon facility in here.
Absolutely, and we wouldn't be able to do it without people coming together, helping us get the food ready to be able to go out our doors.
How many millions of pounds of food are we talking about?
Last year, we were able to distribute around nearly 90 million pounds of food to our community.
Incredible. Most people donate in December, but it's my understanding that individuals' needs actually spike in January and February.
We still need the community support beyond the holidays. The fact of the matter is food insecurity is at the highest level it's been in over a decade, and we're seeing that at our mobile pantries. Longer lines, more people who are turning to us to be able to get some food.
And I noticed that there was a spike during the COVID pandemic. What are you attributing it to now?
You know, there are a few different reasons. The main ones, though, are the high cost of living as well as the higher cost of groceries as well. And so people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're working full-time jobs, but it's just not enough to be able to get by. And that's why they are turning to us as well as our hunger relief partners to be able to get a little bit of relief.
One thing that surprises me is just how many different groups of volunteers touch each package before it gets out to the distribution.
Well, we always say that volunteers are the heart of our organization, and we do truly mean that. I mean, look at the work that they're doing here today.
How can people make a difference in Colorado today?
Come in, volunteer, make a donation. For every dollar that's donated, we're able to provide enough food for 3 meals. So if you want to come in and say hello, get involved, you can do that, or you can go online, foodbankrockies.org, to make a gift today.
Brandon, let's start with Colorado State University. The Rams hired playoffs son himself, Jim Mora Jr.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah. And so Jim Mora Jr. is a guy that you've had some experience with, and he reminds me a little bit. Jim Mora Jr. going to CSU reminds me of a situation with far less drama, like Lane Kiffin going from Ole Miss to LSU, because Mora doesn't bring that kind of drama, but he brings that kind of pedigree and resume of having spent a lot of time in college football, a lot of time in pro football, and the son of a big name coach. But I think we're probably going to have far fewer controversial sound bites at a Jim Mora Jr. than they're going to have down there in Louisiana out of Lane Kiffin, at least we hope. So talk about your experience working with Coach Mora.
Yeah, Coach Mora, when I came into the league with the San Francisco 49ers, he was the defensive coordinator.
Okay.
And I mean, he was probably in his early 40s at the time.
Okay.
So at that time, that was young for being a coach. And so seeing him in this press conference, you know, he still has a lot of energy. He has a great smile. And for me, I think that with CSU, this is a slam dunk hire.
Great.
I mean, he took UConn to back-to-back 9-win seasons.
Okay.
And this was them coming out of COVID. And if you remember, UConn was the school that was the first school in FBS to cancel their football season. And no one else did it during the pandemic.
Well, they were putting a lot of money into basketball. We know that, men and women, yeah.
And he was able to turn it into a 9-win two 9-win seasons at a basketball program.
Right.
So I think his experience in the NFL translates to what's going on in the current state of NCAA. So he has experience in the NFL and then in the traditional NCAA model, and then now has transitioned into this model. So looking at the NIL and the collective as a salary cap and dealing with players with money. Right. And being able to manage that. Then thinking about the portal as free agency, right? He has that type of experience. And then he comes with a lot of maturity to CSU. Right. CSU under President Amy Parsons, I mean, they've gone through an incredible transformation of influx of resources to the program, upgraded facilities, investments in the players, and I think this comes just at the right time as they're going into the Pac-12, where Coach Jim Mora Jr. has experience. Dad coached in the Pac-12. He coached in the Pac-12.
Right.
He played in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So I think this is just a perfect mix for him, and the perfect situation for CSU to get some stability and some maturity into their football program as they want to go to the next level.
Well, when you talk about the coach, when you talk about the conference, and then of course that all begets, a bigger pie in the collective for them to bring in some athletes. Now, when we talk about investing in your program, we look at a lot of money that's been spent at CU, and obviously a lot of attention has been brought to that program over the last 3 years with Coach Prime. As far as an ROI, Brandon, is concerned, is there any concern from Buff Nation that the payoff per what's been spent isn't there yet? Or is that just something that's going to ebb and flow with a lot of programs, not just Colorado?
It should not ebb and flow.
Okay.
That's when I think about the head football coach in this current state of NCAA, you got to think of it as like a CEO. That's the CEO. They need to be responsible with the money that they're spending. And what I've seen in CU is Coach Prime has not been that responsible.
Okay.
I feel like his ego was thinking that his cachet was going to have 5-star athletes just flooding into Boulder. And then when that didn't work, then it was going to be the portal.
It was more like 5-star assistant coaches were flooding in.
Yeah.
Right?
One sap.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're even
Yeah,
that good of coaches, though?
Okay.
But
the names.
But still, then it was going to be the portal, and then that's not working. And then he wants money. Now he wants more money, and it's like, now that's clearly not working. So that all that yielded was, a poor first season, a 9-win second season, and then a 3-win third season.
And it says that they hit a deficit of like between $9 to $11 million in 2024.
Yeah, and the deficit this year is going to be $27 million.
Yeah.
So, when we look back at it, it's $20 million going into the new model for player salaries, player pay, and then he gets a $10 million 5-year, $10 million a year contract. As Rick George says, peace out. It just seems irresponsible when you look back on the season and you say, well, how much does it cost to fly in all these rappers?
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
So he was flying them in?
How much does it cost to fly these celebrities in private?
Wow.
How much does that cost?
Right.
Can we see that? Especially if I'm a coach on a non-traditional sport, that this money is going to the football program and they're not even winning. And I'm the CU volleyball coach, the women's volleyball coach, and we're in the NCAA playoffs.
Right.
We're in the NCAA tournament, and this team has won 3 games. I would be asking a lot of questions of the athletic director. Is this a responsible use of our resources? If I'm the School of Public Health, this could be cancer research money. This could be funding education programs for the university, and we're flushing it down the toilet with the 3-9 football team. Like the faculty and the students and the media should have questions about this.
CSU is doing a much better job of playing Moneyball. They're being run by Billy Bean right now up there, or the closest thing to it, and CSU's being a little bit more of a New York Yankee type of spending spree, right?
What CU's spending, that was more like Washington Redskins, Daniel Snyder spending.
Okay.
Got it.
And you didn't hear anything about Jim Mora Jr. in this coaching search. It came out of literally
just happened one
nowhere.
day.
Right.
It's true.
And what he was saying in his interview with the university is when the job first came up in 2019, he actually called and inquired about it. He has roots out here and out west. And so he inquired about it, and then it happened again, and he reached out again. And so it was just more of
he recruited CSU
versus where Prime came here. It was all about the money. Yeah, this is the
Coach
only
Mora,
gig he could get.
Welcome to Colorado. We could not be happier than to have you here.
Hashtag I'm from Denver. Come on the podcast.
Set the example the way you did. Hey, Coach, you worked with Brandon Lloyd before. It seems like you could do it again jumping in here with us.
This podcast is brought to you by Mountain States Toyota, Colorado's #1 Toyota volume dealer. Trusted, transparent, and the team that's been taking care of Colorado drivers for years. If you want a dealership that actually treats you right, Mountain States Toyota is the place.
I want to talk a little high school football because Brandon and producer Wiggs, Dave Logan, man. I mean,
legend.
He just keeps adding to his legacy. He wins his 13th state title as a high school coach in Colorado. Cherry Creek High School wins their 15th with a 56-28 trouncing of Ralston Valley. And by the way, Ralston Valley, great season for you guys too.
13-0, finished 13-1.
13-1, and Cherry Creek goes back to back, and they go undefeated for the year. But Dave Logan just deserves. I mean, you just can't say enough about him. I think it's 23 seasons as the voice of the Broncos.
Right. Over 600 games called.
He's coached high school football for 30 plus years. And then people forget, this is a guy that was drafted in 3 sports.
Yes.
That played 9 years in the NFL and is in the top 5 of every receiving category.
Hey, don't forget his First Bank commercials too. All right,
His First Bank commercials are legendary.
So bring your business banking to First Bank.
So props to you, Coach Logan. Anything
Yes.
you want to add about him being he's one of your boys is that he was a receiver in the league.
Yes. I think that what's so impressive is that it's the way he coached the team. He took this team to Utah. This team played Florida. Right. So he putting them up against top talent. And then, so they're not just playing local teams.
Right.
And so this team is this season, just how he goes about it, how he approaches it, the way that he's developing youth talent. He's developing young men. And that's what's powerful. It's like there's so many benefits that playing the game of football allows a young man, and on and off the field. And like that's what he's doing. He's reached hundreds of kids and using football as the vehicle to do that, keeping the dream alive. I think there's like 10 Division I athletes
10
that
D1
came out of there.
signees, yeah.
So, and that's not even counting the kids that are going D2, D3,
right,
that get to still play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take these lessons with them when they go to these other teams. So his reach of what he's doing with young men over all these years is just incredible.
Well,
so
and that's
like,
the way,
mad props to you.
That's
Dave.
the way he conducted himself, because Coach Logan was known as a scholar and a philanthropist and a community guy, even in his early years. So you've got to believe that the coach is teaching the players to play and behave in his image, and that bodes well for our community here in Colorado. Well done, Coach Logan.
Touchdown, Denver!
So we're 17-6 with the Nuggets. They're looking for all the world like a true contender, although this Oak City team is putting up some craziness with their record, and they just look like they are incredibly dominant. But I still say I like what I'm seeing from the Nuggets. Now, the Avs really are sort of the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NHL right now. Only 2 losses in regulation, and the only team that's close to that are the Dallas Stars. Unfortunately, they're right on our heels in the division, but we've got Nathan McKinnon leading the league in points, leading the league in goals. You've got McCarr, who's up there third in the league in plus minus, and you've got Wedgwood, the goaltender.
Incredible goalie play,
and with the Nuggets, you got Jamal Murray scoring 25 a game, and you got AG almost 19 a game and a bunch of rebounds when he's healthy. But with regard to a Larry O'Brien Trophy or a Stanley Cup, the Nuggets and Avs respectively have both won those trophies within the last kind of 3 to 5 years. So it's safe to really kind of talk about who would you be more confident to see hoisting a trophy at the end of the year out of those 2 teams with the way they're both going right now.
Right. To me, it's more of a story of the front offices.
Okay.
Where all 3 of those organizations, front office, the Broncos front office went into the last offseason focused on draft picks, free agency, shoring up contracts, keeping players here long term, the right players, the key players long term, under financial distress with the Russell Wilson contract, and then they did it. Then it's like the the Nuggets go into this offseason laser focused on how to build a true roster around Jokic. And they did it. And then the Avs, the same thing. What are the voids? The goalies. They bring in 2 new goalies, right? And it's more of the scheme. It's like the NFL. We always talk about it's a copycat league, and from my research and looking at the Avs, it's like they're pulling in some of those tendencies from the championship Panthers, where they're playing all speed. They're putting a ton of pressure on the blue lines, closing gaps on the wall, getting on fast breaks. I mean, they're not playing overly aggressive. They're not putting a lot of bodies on, but they're playing with incredible speed and covering gaps. So it's just it's been remarkable to see the way that these 3 local organizations have really turned it around. I think that the Avs, I think I see them playing into the finals.
Okay.
Only because we're going to have to see the Thunder.
Right.
The Nuggets have to see the Thunder in the West Coast.
And not only just the Thunder, but just to your point, Brandon, defensively, we're seeing more consistency from the Broncos. We're seeing more consistency from the Avalanche than we are seeing from the Nuggets. Now, in the case of the Nuggets, what gives me pause is this is a 17-6 basketball team, but they're 7-3 at home, 10-3 on the road. 3 losses at home in inexplicable fashion, blowing big leads. That's the only tendency that seems like a carryover from the team that they rebuilt the roster so that this wouldn't continue to happen.
Right. When Jokic goes off the court, then all of a sudden the game just unravels. It unravels, and that was the whole point of getting a sturdy bench.
Right.
But what I am liking to see is the way Swatson has just stepped into the role with Braun out. His 3-pointers going down. His defense isn't going anywhere. That's what's been the most impressive.
A lot of shots, that guy.
Yeah, but it's like, so I think that that's what's giving me more optimism about them holding up against the others in the West.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a long season for them. The season really doesn't start till after the Super Bowl.
Right. True.
So
yeah, that's true.
So I think for them, like hanging on, keeping a good record,
right?
And not burning themselves out over the course of the season, where Murray always starts hot, and then towards the end of the season, he starts playing rather pedestrian.
Well, I'll say that it is nice being from Denver. I would go to so many Nuggets games years ago where everyone was wearing the other team's jersey. You know what I mean? Everyone's supporting the other team, and I was just always a diehard Nuggets fan. Even the seasons where we would lose consistently, to actually just watch them and to have this kind of like even talk about them going all the way or the going into the playoffs, it's such a different mentality as a fan.
Well, what is it like for you? Think about that. You have the best cornerback in the NFL. And probably one of the best linebackers. So let's just stick it at cornerback. You have the best cornerback in the NFL, in the world. You have the best basketball player in the world. You have the best hockey forward in the world. Like, what does that feel like? Oh, like right here in Denver.
All right here in Denver. And I mean, I don't even think Jokic gets. It's wild. The media like downplays him sometimes. Like they hype him up, and then there also is like it's the same thing with the Broncos. Like people will be like, they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. They're not as good as their record portrays them to be. And then I feel like sometimes it's Jokic is the same way. Like he's not MVP caliber, but then the other half is like, yes, he is. It's wild to see, to your point, so many people having this like world star caliber skill set and still almost be just looked at as like, nah, they're not that good. And
what does that feel like having those 3 players?
It's amazing because there's been so long where we didn't have any of that, where we didn't even have any winning teams at all. So to have that as 3 Denver teams where you're just like, wow, like we are getting that recognition that we deserve as a sports fan, it's just nice. Now you just want it to go to that next level to where you win the championship and you prove them wrong. You prove the haters wrong. And that's kind of where I'm at with that.
So I've lived this before with Jokic. This is my second go-round with this situation. This is deja vu for me. And here's why. So when I was a little kid, now I'm dating myself, but my dad used to take me to the LA Forum to watch Wilt Chamberlain play. So he was my first big man in my world. And even at age 7, 8, I was like, why does he just not seem like he's getting as much out of his game as Bill Russell's getting out of his? I'm 7 and 8 and I'm seeing that. And then you hear, as I get older, people referring back to that, and I was absolutely right. But then when I lived in Houston, I went to school at the same time as the Dream. So I watched Akeem Olajuwon's entire career, and I lived in Houston during the years, went to a lot of playoff games. Got a great story that I'll tell at another time of me going to Phoenix for a playoff game and being in the first row in the Spike Lee seats and getting into a fist fight with the Phoenix Gorilla. But again, that'll wait. But I watched Akeem Olajuwon come in, guy from another country, guy with a very unique skill set, guy that brought it every single night, a guy that was incredibly highly respected within his own locker room and league-wide, and to have the same sort of effect on his team and on the entire league that the Dream had. Now I'm watching it with Jokic. Now, Jokic's skill set is wildly more complete than Dream's was offensively. Now, he didn't block shots like the Dream. Nobody did. But I've been there and I've done that, and it's so great to watch a guy, to be able to see a guy every single night do the things, and Jokic just invents things every single night. And so to your point, Wiggs, I'm not really necessarily hearing a lot of negativity toward Jokic not being an MVP or not being. So I think from the people that really know the game, and when you listen to Reggie Miller and you listen to even LeBron James talk about Jokic, the level of reverence that they have for him, the only guy that's not blowing the Jokic trumpet is Jokic. And that was just like Dream as well. Dream used to say one thing consistently in an interview in the locker room after a game: we're just going to stay humble and hungry. And we all used to say that because we just it was just like we love Dream for that reason, and I love Jokic for the same reason.
Yeah, I feel like Jokic is more mature this season, where he's always had this so nonchalant. I don't really care that much about playing. I just so happen to be this good. I just kind of roll out of bed and it's like this. And, I'd rather be with my horses kind of attitude. Yeah. And then I feel like this year's like he's more locked in for the accountability. He's always been holding himself and the team accountable, similar to how you're talking about like with the Dream. But I feel like this season is just more of a sense of urgency with it.
One more thing that I add to that is that he has made a pact with himself that he is not going to be jumping all over the refs and being all
good
animated. Because I thought there was a bit much of that. That was the one little chink in the armor that Dream got that way too. Yeah. But I still have seen him. There's always that kind of thing. And
but running down the court, waving at him.
Yeah, there's less of it.
Yep.
And there should be.
I appreciate you. I think that you're one of the most respected voices in tennis. You are an iconic sports broadcaster and sports radio person. Yeah. And I'm excited to have you on. I think your perspective, your experience, and your passion for sports, you're just going to elevate every podcast. So,
honey, I hope you heard that because that came from the great Brandon Lloyd. Iconic. She's my wife is going to be going, oh no. And I got to deal with this guy that thinks he's iconic.
The icon, the dinner. Icon, hey, your dinner is served.
I may be iconic, but I know who's taking the trash out on Wednesday morning.
The icon.
That ain't gonna change.
Well, shout out to Mountain States Toyota for sponsoring the Icon and Brandon Lloyd and the I'm from Denver podcast. So until next time, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And then we'll be back with another episode with AZ and Brandon Lloyd and myself, producer Wiggs.